No need to go far and wide. Let Hometown provide. Hometown Trophies and Embroidery in Lena can help turn your ideas into reality. From awards, engraving, and gifts to custom apparel and business accessories, they have you covered. Visit them today or give them a call at 815-369-9185. That's Hometown Trophies Embroidery. Let your vision become their masterpiece.
When it comes to planning for your future, you want someone you can trust. At Prairie State Investments, Mark Pfeiffer is here to help you build a plan that fits your life, your family, and your goals. Whether it's retirement, college savings, or investing wisely for tomorrow, Mark has the knowledge and local commitment to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future up to chance. Call Mark Pfeiffer at Prairie State Investments today at 815-668-8131 and start investing with confidence.
Welcome to NUIC All Access, joined by Joe Merdian. I am your host, Kyle Kampmier. Today we feature 3 guests from the Dakota Indians basketball team. Joe, introduce our guests to us today.
Today's guests are Dakota head coach Mike Bartelt, along with standout players Austin Stuckey and Cason Mayer. Here's a look at what they've accomplished so far. They were the 2025 Durand Regional Champions, back-to-back Scales Mountain Thanksgiving Tournament champions. Coach Bartelt sitting at 247 career wins. Austin Stuckey, 2024-2025 First Team All-Conference, and Cason Mayer, 2025 Honorable Mention All-Conference. Guys, welcome to the show today, and thank you for joining us here.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Coach. Last season ended with a sectional semifinal loss to eventual state runner-up Eastland. What did that game reveal for you that would help carry into this season or has carried into this season for you?
Yeah, just I think how we respond when we get down. There's a couple examples from last year. I think the first time we played Peck, we were about tied at halftime, somewhere in there, and they went on a little run, and we never responded. They ended up winning the game by 20. Against Eastland there in that sectional game, they put on a little run, and again, we didn't respond very well. I thought we tried to do too much individually offensively, and it affected us defensively. And so far this year, it's been a little change. Even the game we lost against Byron, we were up 10 early in the game, and then they put on a run, and they were up 10 or 12, I think, with about 4 minutes left. And then we made a run at the end and actually had a chance to take the lead with a minute left, and we missed an open 3. And then our last game against Winnebago, we were down by 17 in the second quarter, and we made a run. So we kind of stuck together, played well defensively, and got back in the game and ended up winning the game, which wouldn't have happened last year.
Austin, after beating Byron there early in the season, very strong 2A team, what did that win confirm for you, and what still needs to be proven for you guys?
I think that win really shows what's possible this year. The ceiling's high for us, obviously. They're a good team. Money, you obviously know we lost to them in Forest tournament, but they're a competitive team, and we kept it close most of the game. And what still needs to be proven is just coming to play every game, no matter who we're playing, play that hard. Because I think against Byron, we were ready to play, and we came out ready that game, but we need to do that every game.
So going and looking at what you guys have already stated, you guys have stated that you've gotten out to good leads, you've lost those leads, you've had to battle back. Obviously against Byron, you battled back again for a second time after they took a lead, but then you eventually lost. As far as playing within that rhythm, how do you become more consistent when once you establish that lead, just getting that additional killer instinct to stay in that lead and not relinquish it?
I think it's defensive consistency.
Go ahead, Stu.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just our defense has to communicate, obviously be talking a lot and up in their face, not backed off. Lack of defense and communication.
Coach, what do you want to add to that?
That's what I was going to mention. That's what we always talk about. Usually, the first thing is our defensive intensity. When that's there, we're a pretty good team.
Yeah. Cason, seeing Eastland's level last March to where they were at, obviously they went in that sectional championship game against Pecatonica as a huge underdog based off of what had happened and transpired over the course of the season. And we all know what outcome that came of it. But playing them and seeing what resulted in their state runner-up finish, how did that change your expectations for yourself coming into your senior year here?
I'd really say Eastland really showed us how good of a team you have to be and what that looks like. Basically, the amount of pressure they put on us, no one really did that last year, and it really just um kind of just showed me and our team what it's going to look like this year when how we have to play, what it's going to look like if we want to go far.
Hey, coach, the conference teams, obviously you guys played twice, home and away. Chances to play the teams, a third time in the postseason. What separates teams, maybe keep winning as you become familiar with each other by the time you play that team a third time?
There's not a lot usually. It depends. Like some teams you're going to play 3 or 4 times, you're probably going to beat them with that, not too much of an issue. But when the teams are close, talent wise, it's just a lot of little things. You've seen them twice already, so you know their tendencies, and they kind of know your own tendencies. So it just comes down to the very fine details, I think, of that, and then who's making shots that night as well. It comes down to that. When we beat Lena for the third time last year, we made more shots than they did. I mean, we both knew what each team was gonna do, and it just comes down to little execution at the end.
So you're already sitting 1-0 in conference play, coach, with that 63-20 win over Durand. But really, when we come back from the Christmas holiday break is when the season really starts to open up for conference play. And you got Forston right out of the gates there. And then, Lena Winslow looks to be tough, but they've kind of been struggling a little bit. But, I mean, they've only played, 5 games so
Yep.
far on the season compared to a lot of other people with their football run. And then we've seen Pecatonica kind of go through some struggles here early on as well. They've been mostly up, but, against Eastland in that shootout at the holiday tournament, Eastland definitely showed why they have the experience compared to what Pecatonica returns. But we've been talking about it early on how strong the NUIC North is going to be this year. And right now, it looks like it's going to be the strongest division of the 3. What do you speak about that, and how does that start to look for the picture when we get into regional play?
Yeah, there's going to be basically 5 teams kind of like fighting for the conference title. I think, Pearl City's going to be good. I think 2 years ago they won the Fresh South Conference. And then obviously Lena is going to be better once they get more practice time in. Obviously the football season usually affects them early in the year. Peck's going to be good. They're good right now, but they will be better because they're playing a lot of young guys. So they got the big Zion, but then after that, they don't have a lot of experience. So, and then Forston returns 4 starters from last year's team. They're going to be a handful as well. So there's a bunch of teams I think that think they can win the conference this year.
Hey, Case, and I'll kind of ask you the same thing. What's it like when you guys look at your schedule? I know Coach probably tells you just to worry about the next game, but when you know every night in and out, it's going to be a battle. What's kind of the mindset there for your team?
Really, we've got to stay disciplined. Come out there, just have a positive mindset. Every game we come out to, no matter who we're playing. No matter if it's a really good team, bad team. Really, just have confidence. Come out there with our heads up, basically.
Austin, by the second matchup and when you get into conference play, obviously a lot of teams already know your tendencies on top of the multiple tournaments that you guys play against some of these common opponents that you're going to see later in the season. And of course, their coaches are already sitting there getting all the additional scouting information that they can. what adjustments matter most for you to help lead Dakota to further success?
I'd say it's just about executing. I mean, you're gonna know each other's plays and stuff like that from scouting. It's going to watch them and stuff like that. It's just about executing and running. They're gonna know what you're doing, but you just gotta try your best and execute plays, play hard down the stretch, and yeah.
Hey, Cason, by the time you guys get to that third or fourth meeting with the team, where can those games usually swing, in your opinion?
Yeah, that can be really tough. Like basically what Austin was going off a little bit though, but basically each team knows each other's plays. You know the scouting report, what everyone, their favorite move is what they're gonna do. Really just comes down to intensity on defense and whoever's hitting shots that night, honestly. And, if you go down, just keep your head up and then just keep battling and fighting. Hopefully come out with the win.
Coach, we've already kind of talked about the NUIC North and what it's required to survive that grind. But as far as winning a conference championship, it's been a little bit since Dakota has won a conference title. What would it mean for Dakota, but this group of seniors specifically?
Yeah, we haven't won a conference championship since I think Evan Flynn's group in
Yep.
2018, 19, somewhere around there, I think. So it's been a while. Yeah, and this basically show that all their hard work has paid off. I mean, these guys, this is probably the first group we've had in a little while that play basketball a lot. These guys in the summertime, they're not just playing with us. I said, we always talk about this. If you want to be a good team, you got to practice, you got to play. And these guys here, they play all the time. They go to other schools' gyms and play open gyms there. So all the hard work and dedication is kind of hopefully will lead to a lot of success this year, not only conference play, postseason, all that, but individual success as well that they're having so far.
Austin, as one of the leaders of this team, what standard has to be met nightly if Dakota wants to win the conference this year?
Just get the team ready to play, get them watching film the day before, the day of, get them locked in for the game, knowing who we're going to have to key in on in the games, and just be ready to play like every game.
Cason, we've been talking about the NUIC North and how complex it is this year with the amount of teams that are going to be legitimate contenders for a conference title. How do you stay consistent week to week when one game can completely flip the standings, like Pearl City beating Lena Winslow the other day, stuff like that?
Yeah, we know that our conference is really good this year. It could go really any way, but honestly, as long as we just stick to our rules, play our game, execute our plays, trust coach's game call, and then really, as long as we're just hitting our shots, we should be fine and stay consistent and have confidence.
Hey, Coach, beyond the wins and losses, what were some of the team goals you guys established coming into this season?
Well, at least my main two goals were to try and win conference and win a regional. Again, it's been a long time since we won a conference championship, and it's been a while. I don't think we've won back-to-back regionals since I played back in the 80s. So it's been a long time since any of that stuff has happened. So that's my two main goals coming in.
So, Casey, I'm coming back to you. What does sacrificing your own individual numbers for team success look like for Dakota to have that success?
No, as long as I'm contributing to the team, playing good defense, hustling, it doesn't really matter how much I'm scoring. As long as we're playing good as a team, moving the ball around, as long as we're really winning.
Wins are all that matters. Like Al Davis said, just win, baby, win.
Hey, Austin, Coach mentioned those goals there, winning conference and winning a regional. Those goals there, what demands the most discipline from your guys as players? Like, what's maybe the biggest thing you guys need to focus on to accomplish those goals?
Like you said, conference championship doesn't happen a lot back. Been a while. Regional championship back to back. It's been a few years, but this practice, going hard in practice, takes a lot of discipline. Obviously, long stretch throughout the week. It's not. You don't always want to go to practice and go as hard as you can, but you just got to. Like assistant coach emphasizes a lot. Defense in practice translates to in-game situations, just depending on how hard you're going in practice.
And then Cason, how do you guys? I mean, you and Austin are clearly the leaders, but you guys have other senior contributors with Day and Liam. How do you guys hold each other accountable to those goals when the season starts to get longer in the tooth?
Really, just stay positive, keeping each other up, no negative energy really, because one night it could be me or Austin playing good, could be Liam or Keegan or Dalen. We have a lot of scorers on our team. Really, as long as we just stay positive, positive energy, keep picking each other up, you know.
Hey, Coach, you guys had that early season win against Byron. You've had some other really nice victories so far this year, off to 8-1 start. How do you guard against your team getting complacent?
I think because we have some of those long-term goals in our mind, so we keep mentioning that, and like Austin was telling earlier, we try and stress every time you got to bring it in practice. If you work hard in practice, it's going to carry over to games. And this group isn't just happy beating Byron and they're going to roll over after that. These guys have bigger goals in mind, and that's what they're aiming for.
Hey, Coach, I'll kind of add on, you had the win over Byron. You had the nice comeback when they're in the third place game against Winnebago. We kind of already touched on it. You guys were down 16 in that game. That's kind of one of those games where, do you learn something about your team when you can come back against a team of quality Winnebago like that? Now, obviously, you don't want to ever be down 16, but that's one of those wins that maybe later in the season, it's like, hey, guys, we know we did this against Winnebago. We can do it against this team or that team.
Yeah, hopefully we're not in that situation again. But yeah, it
Right.
lets us know. We had to call a couple timeouts to get him going, and all of a sudden we got a few turnovers, got some layups, and so I think it will give the guys some confidence that if they get down later on in the year, that we got the ability to come back and win the game.
So Austin and Cason, adding to that, when you guys get in those runs that we've seen recently, we saw it against Pearl City, saw it against Bago, we saw it against Byron. What are you guys thinking when the adversity starts to hit? What are you guys thinking? Are you guys getting that negative thought, or are you trying to stay positive within the situation, knowing that you guys can make that comeback? Austin, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I'd
Cason?
definitely say when you get down 16, I mean, heads start dropping, people start feeling negative, but the game can obviously just flip just like that, a little steal, fast break, just an easy layup. I mean, as long as you just keep your head positive, I mean, the game can flip just like that and just pick up the intensity on defense, really, and then, you can get right back in the game.
Hey, Coach Bartelt, you have a luxury this year. You got two big guys. Two guys 6'4", 6'5" here in Case and Austin. That's something in Class A that you don't see a lot sometimes. That really opens up the playbook a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. It lets us be pretty versatile out there. We try and play inside. We always try and play inside first. And, I keep telling our 3-point shooters the easiest 3-point shot is an inside out 3-pointer. So we try and get the ball inside to our bigs, and once they start collapsing a little bit there, and you kick out, we get some open looks from the 3-point line. So yeah, that helps a lot, especially in 1A ball.
Yeah. Austin, when
Austin.
teams, oh, go ahead, Kyle. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Joe. You're gonna go the same question I was. Go ahead.
Yep. Austin, I was just going to say, when a lot of times, obviously you being first team all conference the last 2 years, teams are going to key on you. How do you impact winning without necessarily forcing the game if, say, teams are really looking to shut you down? What's some other things you can do to help your team win?
Cason, last year we saw a little bit of times where, the lack of physicality down low out of Dakota kind of hindered what they could do as far as getting on the boards, securing the ball, securing possessions. This year it seems to be a lot better, and that obviously starts with you in a lot of ways as well. What role does that toughness and details play when you're not getting the shots to fall?
Really, shots aren't falling. Just gotta stay positive, keep shooting shots that you know it's gonna eventually go in. Um, just trust all of our teammates, keep our heads up, keep shooting, and yeah.
Hey, Coach, as always, the NUIC is very tough. We've already talked about your division. The South, you got Eastland. Fulton's a team that's going to be improving. The West has the likes of East Dubuque, Galena, Scales Mound, Warren. How do you benchmark your team against the rest of the NUIC this year?
Well, fortunately, we play most of those teams. We don't have Eastland on our schedule right now. I don't know. There's a possibility we could maybe add them at the end. So we don't see a lot of teams from the South, but from the West, we see a lot of people. We already played most of them at the Scales Mountain tournament. We played East Dubuque. We played Galena in the championship game there. There's a possibility we'll see Scales Mountain at the South Lloyd MLK tournament. At least they've been there the last few years. So we see them. We got Warren on our non-conference schedule. So we see a bunch of those teams, and and they're good teams over there in the West too. Probably more good teams in the West and the East than there is in the South. The South's a little bit weaker. The top's good, but after that, it drops off a little bit.
Yeah, Coach, I'll ask you, then I'll kind of let Austin Stuckey fill in here if they want to. But, coming out of the break here, you guys are kind of going to be road warriors here. You guys got some tough road games coming up these first 3 weeks of January at Forston, at Warren, at Lena, at Pearl City. You guys are going to have to be pretty focused there on some of those bus rides. That's a tough stretch to start out January here.
Yeah, and again, I don't know. As a coach, you don't think about the long stretch. You think about that one game coming up. So my focus right now is just Stockton on Monday, and then after that, my focus will be on Forston coming up, and we'll go from one game at a time, and that's how I kind of try and approach it.
Now, you said that road games aren't fun. I always found going on the road to be more fun, and I don't know why. I mean, obviously Dakota does always bring a good crowd, but I always thought it was more fun to go on the road and beat the team in their own house and kind of shut them up. Do you guys kind of get that same vibe or feeling? Cason, jumping on that, where's your favorite place to play on the road? What do you like? What gym's your favorite?
Definitely say probably Peck or probably Peck or Lena, really, because they seem to bring the most intensity, the best crowds, really. And I just love being in that gym with so much energy, especially if the game's going our way. But when it's not, though, then it's a little rough, But
Yeah.
Hey,
Uh,
hey, co-
go-
hey, coach. Obviously, any good head coach is going to give their assistants, credit. A lot of your assistants have been with you a very, very long time. You guys have a very well-respected staff around the NUIC. Just talk a little bit about what your assistants coaches mean to this Dakota program.
Oh, I put a lot on their table. They do a lot for me, and they're great. Like I say, I think I got the best staff around. Jim Moyer's been with me for a long time. This is gonna be his last year helping. But he's been there for 8 or 9 years, I think, somewhere around there. Brett Benning has been with me a long time. He's gotten so much more vocal with these guys. It's great to see, and he helps out with the low post guys. And he'll bring the intensity. He'll go up and down a little bit with the guys too. Showcasing he's still got it a little bit.
Yeah.
Evan Flynn has joined the staff this year, so he's been helping out with the guards quite a bit. So he does, when we split up into post and guard work, he does the guard work stuff, and he's done a great job for us. Jason Long has helped out with a Fresh South group, and he's done a nice job there. And then Gary Heenefeld, my Fresh South coach, this is his last year, and this is year number 50 for Gary. And, he's done, he's been a staple there at Dakota.
Well, Coach Gary's been there since you were in high school, hasn't he?
Yeah. He coached me in junior high when I played. So he's a long time.
Yeah, he was my Fresh Soft coach too, back in the day. Yeah, and that was, of course, when he was still athletic director too. But he's worn many hats over the years, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's done a lot of things.
Austin and Cason, I'll ask you both. What's it like having former Dakota greats Evan Flynn and Brett Benning on staff? I'm sure you guys have heard stories about those guys playing days. What's it like to have those guys in your presence and wanting to help you guys, become great Dakota basketball players and have great teams?
I'd say you go. Yeah, really off of what Austin said there. I mean, it's just nice having them in the building, just there to help us out, really. And just they came from the Dakota background, so they really know. They've been in this program. Coach Bartelt coached both of them, so um, it's just nice having them there in our ear with us whole time.
So, Austin, obviously, Coach Benning is your cousin. So, do you have an additional push coming from him because of the relationship? So, Coach Bartelt, Dakota returns the key players like Liam Burke, Keegan Zimmerman, Dalen Long, Drake Davis. You also have newcomers coming off the bench and Braden Larson, Cone Lawler. How do you mix the experience that you have in with the new talent that it has provided more depth for you this season?
Yeah, so far we've started the same starting five. We haven't mixed that up yet, just because we're playing well. I don't want to mix anything up, and those guys have been playing together for a while, in the varsity level. So, and then we come off the bench, and I think those guys give us some energy. Braden Larson, Dalen Long, and Cohen Lawler have been our main three guys coming off the bench and getting a lot of playing time. And they just, when they come out there, they just bring the energy. If we need a little pickup, that's what they bring, and they've done a great job with that so far.
Hey, Austin and Cason, obviously you two guys being taller guys, and you guys doing those post drills in practice. I'm assuming that you guys are going against each other quite a bit one-on-one. Tell us a little bit about how that works out.
Yeah, really. Well, sometimes Austin will go down with the guard work. He'll do guard work, but when he comes down to do the post work, normally we guard each other. It's just fun battling against each other and then scoring buckets on each other.
Casey, are you sitting there jabbing? Are you jabbing Austin in the ribs?
Oh, of course, always. Little low in the
Sorry,
shoulder a little
Austin,
bit
go ahead.
sometimes.
Go ahead, Stuke. So, Austin, how does having more players, like we were just talking about, creating more depth, contribute to the change on how you guys approach practice, how you approach in-game rotations, and the benefit and the success that that has for you guys so far? Jason, same to you. With some of these newcomers stepping into leadership defined roles, I mean, Larson and Lawler have been starters in other varsity sports for the last 2 years as freshmen and sophomores now in their junior years. What does that help build into the leadership and the culture? Also learning from you guys as returning starters that have kind of been there, done that.
Yeah, we have me, Liam, Austin returning as starters. Drake, he's been on varsity since a freshman, but he's stepping up, playing a bigger role this year as we lost Jake, Solomon, Braxton last year, and then just really Braden and Cohen coming off the bench, giving us a different spark. They're playing really well. And yeah, we did lose 6 seniors last year, but I think our juniors coming up have been playing really well and contributing to the team a lot.
Oops, looks like we lost Austin. That's all right. We'll keep rolling. Go ahead, Joe.
Coach, I was going to add, last year in the sectional semifinal against Eastland, obviously you guys were without Liam. What's it like, going into a game like that without your point guard? Obviously it's disappointing, but how did you kind of get your guys focused for that game against a tough Eastland team without your starting point guard?
Yeah, fortunate. No, I shouldn't say fortunately, but we had a lot of games going into that game without him. He got hurt, I think, right after the MLK tournament, and so that last part of the year, Brody Keeney stepped in, and he played very well for us. Actually, he played better as a starter down the stretch than he was probably earlier in the year. So he did a nice job. And, other guys had to take a little bit more responsibility as far as bringing the ball up the court occasionally and things like that. But I thought the guys adjusted well without him out there. Obviously, we missed him quite a bit.
Right, right.
Yeah, that was definitely a turning point loss. Brody did step in a big way, but you could really tell the difference that Liam provided in having him not in the lineup. It had a little bit of a difference to how your team moved and contributed. And I know it bothered him a lot because I talked to him in Durand when you guys cut down the nets for the regional championship, and he was in tears because he wanted to be on the floor.
Mm.
He didn't just want to be part of the celebration. He wanted to be out there contributing.
Yeah, it changed, obviously how we play a little bit because Liam is such a great athlete out there. He's very quick. He jumps well. He's a competitor as well. And when you're a competitor and you can't get out there, it's tough. And I think this summer, he put in a lot of time this summer, and it's been paying off for him as well to start the year.
Austin, welcome back, by the way. How do you guys manage fatigue and stay sharp late in the games? As the season wears on, you're going to be getting into weeks 13, 14, 15, 16 before regionals start. How do you start to manage that fatigue? Do you feel fatigue, or is it just kind of keep going because that's what you're used to doing?
Obviously, you gotta keep going, but just gotta practice hard. Being able to be in games, sub in frequently, get more time on the bench, get players in, sub frequently. That's key. Obviously, you're gonna be a little bit fatigued going down the stretch, but just gotta know it's my last season, our last season. Uh, do our best as always.
Cason, how do you maintain chemistry and communication when lineups change frequently because of the depth rotations you guys have?
Yeah, really, I would say me, Austin, Liam, no, we've been playing together since like elementary, so our chemistry together is just really good. I mean, Keegan, he came here from Akron as a freshman, so did Dalen came here sophomore year. Um, Drake's been playing with us since his freshman year. So I think over just the course of these 3, 4 years, we've just really built that good chemistry, and then yeah, we just been playing really well together, and we just know where each other at, where we're at on the court all the time.
Coach, I know you know this, but I don't know if your players know this, but Illinois is home of the actual true March Madness. When March arrives, what excitement do you have as a coach, but the players also generate from that can tell you that you guys are ready to make a run?
Yeah, that's always my favorite time of the year. I think the postseason is the best time to be playing basketball. I don't know. So that's what we try and strive every year, is to try and be peaking at that right time. So we'll start a little slower here. We'll get some more stuff in offensively, defensively, if you try and do a few more things, and hopefully we get the guys peaking at the right time. And for the most part, for my coaching career, we've done that. We peaked at the right time. There's been probably a season or two where we weren't playing our best at the end. But for the most part, we've been playing well at the end, and I expect this year to be the same.
Austin, if Dakota's going to cut down nets at the end of the season, what has to hold true for this team about its depth, its leadership, and just your guys' effort?
It just comes down to good habits, small little things that we need to focus in on, like coaches always say, mainly in practice because it translates to the game, but going hard, doing the little things that we know is going to happen in the game. That's always key. Effort and intensity is big. Brett emphasizes this. He's always texting us, sending us quotes, some good coaches, good little things to just think in the back of our head that, he's always giving us. It's our last season. Go as hard as you can. and that comes from leadership from the team, me, Cason, that we have to emphasize.
Cason, Austin, this one's going to be geared to both of you. Cason, I'll let you go first. Looking back, what do you want this season, senior year, to be remembered more for, both individually and as a program?
Really, obviously the goal is to make it downstate, obviously win state championship, but really just try to make it as far as possible in postseason. You know, last year came off a regional championship, hopefully to get farther on that and just go as far as possible. And then individually for me, really just play as hard as I can, contribute, you know, most I can to the team. You know, last year got to give it everything I got. Just do everything I can to win.
Yeah,
Austin?
I agree with him. Obviously, be fun to make a run down the stretch, but that starts early. That starts now. Little things. Hopefully we can looking at like the sectional, regional stuff like that. I feel like we play some of those teams around here, and um, I think that we're capable of making a run down the stretch. Individually, not too focused on individual, but that'll come. We'll see. We'll see how the season goes.
That's probably the best response, Austin.
Yeah.
So, Coach, obviously you know, and we've already talked about what your kind of goals are for the season, which is great. You already have those things established, and this group is pushing those goals to be reached. As a coach and with your staff, how do you guys go about making sure that these guys are reaching that max potential, and then ensuring that they're getting the prime opportunities to stay focused and diligent and meeting those goals step by step?
Yeah, this is basketball's a long season, from the start to the end.
Yeah.
It's a grind, and fortunately for we'll have a little time off here. So after the Stockton game, we're gonna have a week off. So they're gonna be off for a whole week, so they can kind of recharge themselves a little bit, I think, because we don't play again until the 6th of January. And then we get back into it, and coaches, they'll tell you we talk all the time about all the little things mean a lot. All your screening angles, if you don't screen at the right angle, if you don't rotate over defensively on the help side, all those little things we talk about all the time, and then practice hard. And these guys are doing a much better job this year than they did last year with all that stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Obviously, Dakota, you guys have definitely set yourselves up as being one of the top teams to watch for this year. Currently, you take a look at all the ratings systems and Nesto Hoops of what Aaron Britton's doing there and stuff. And I was joking around with Jay and Joe earlier, and I'm like, I'm surprised Dakota's not on this list yet. And Jay was like, oh, they'll be there. And now you guys are the top team from the area on his list, which is awesome to see. Obviously, it means nothing right now outside of the fact that you guys have played a good schedule. You've put together a collection of wins off to an 8-1 start. How does that continue to build as you move forward here? Like you said, you got the MLK tournament coming up before long, but really you got good conference play coming up with the likes of Lena Winslow, Pearl City, Pecatonica, Forreston, and then you still have another game coming up in early February against Winnebago again. How is that going to set you up for what you expect down the road?
Yeah, we're gonna face good competition here, so it's you can't take a night off, basically. And I think we're gonna add a game with Oregon as well, which is one of the better teams around. So yeah, we're gonna face some quality teams, and I think it makes it a little bit easier also in practice when you know your next game up is against a good team. It's a little bit easier to focus in practice and get ready.
Coach, also got to think when you guys get to regionals, that having tough games every night also helps them because you've already kind of been playing with that mentality, so to speak, of you got to bring your best every night.
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of coaches, try and get those better quality competition games in there, so they're a little bit more used to that once regional comes, and they're used to that competition. They're used to the intensity it takes, really, on both ends of the court to succeed at that.
Hey, Coach, also you mentioned here a few questions back about how, you guys got the Stockton game coming up, then you're giving the kids a week off. A lot of programs, they'll play a tournament between Christmas and New Year's. I don't believe you guys have ever done that too much. As you said, basketball's a long season. Just kind of give me your thought process there as maybe coaches who want to keep playing versus coaches that want to give their kids a week off there.
Yeah, again, I don't know which one's the best way to go about approaching that. I just know for us, I think it's been successful the way we've done it. So that's why I haven't changed anything where they get a little bit of time off. Sometimes it's more than others, but we got a huge break this time in between games. So we do have a week off, and I think it allows these guys to kind of recharge and regroup and maybe enjoy the holiday season a little bit here. And like I said, it's basically a 4-month season from November to February or March. You're grinding through all that stuff. So a little time off, I think, helps.
Coach, you are in your 13th season now at Dakota, which you're the longest tenured coach Dakota's ever had. And when you take a look through the history, obviously Dakota's won 13 regional titles. The one trip to state back in 1993 under former coach Mike Shallow. And there really hasn't been a whole lot of sectional success. You have to go all the way back to 1984 under Jim Hoover when he was still at Dakota for another sectional championship. Does that, when you have a team like this that's coming off of a regional championship and you know that they can play for a sectional championship, does that become part of that process? But at the same time, what does that legacy mean to you? You're a Dakota alum, you're a Dakota coach, and when you take a look at all these coaches, they all have common similarities. They have a lot more wins than they have losses. There's a winning and competitive balance when it comes to Dakota basketball. All that together, what's that mean to you?
Oh, it's a lot. First, I want to make sure we mention there were 2 teams that made it downstate from Dakota.
Oh, yes, I did forget the 78 team. I
Yes.
missed that one.
Yes, Alan Rayhorn would not be happy if he wasn't mentioned there.
No, he would not.
But yes, so yeah, I had a lot of success when I played. I was on that team that won sectional, so I probably had one of the better postseason records of anybody that's played through here. I think we were like 9-2 in the postseason my 2 years playing. So I had a lot of success when I played here. I've been an assistant coach or head coach with a lot of teams that have won a regional with Brian Benning, and now with myself here coaching. So yeah, we're used to kind of having a little bit of success. Like I talked about earlier, the hardest thing I think we've had is trying to win back-to-back ones. It hasn't been done since I played back in the 80s, I think. So I think we know what we know what it takes to get there. And these guys are working hard towards that.
Yeah, I totally forgot about Claire Miller's run there in 78. I don't even know how I missed that one because you've growing up in Dakota, you've always seen the stuff for that 78 team and the banner and all that stuff. And of course, with Rayhorn having the career that he had. So that's actually 3 sectional titles in Dakota, not 2. But yeah, it's always been a great history for Dakota, and yeah, you definitely got to have a lot of pride being in a program that has over 1,300 wins, and its history is remarkable, and it's got to be a lot of fun. So Austin and Cason, looking at that history, what does that mean to you guys as you are now coming up It's senior year, final years here. What does that play in for you guys? Do you guys think about that at all? Or is it about leaving your own legacy, or is it a combination of both?
Probably both. Obviously we know the pressure's on us. Not that that's a good or a bad thing, but a lot of people, that's what they're talking about around Dakota. Is just how you guys doing so far? How you looking this season? How's it going? Get asked that quite a lot around the area. So I think it's important that we um keep going and try and make a run to make them proud.
Yeah, I'd say definitely think about both of them. But I would really love to just for our team, make a run in it postseason, make our team remembered in Dakota's history. It's one of my main goals, I guess I would say.
Joe, you got anything to add?
I do not.
Well, hey, you guys have, like we said, you've jumped off to an 8-1 start. Obviously, a lot of people were hoping you guys would have beat Byron the second time around for that Forston Holiday Tournament championship. But in the long term, you guys did finish in third place in an always tough holiday tournament there at Forston. A lot of fun to see, obviously. You guys have some big games coming up. Starts tomorrow with Stockton. And then, like you said, you got a little bit of a break, and then you come back after the holiday season and really get into that big conference play and a lot of that sectional seeding play that will become important as we get into the later part of January and the seeding process starts to take place. But you guys have definitely lived up to the hype. Austin, you said that there's some pressure there, stuff like that, but they always say pressure is a privilege because it means that the expectations are there and the excitement's there for you guys to be good. Um, and with that, we hope that you guys continue on with the success that you guys have started the season on. But man, this NUIC North's going to be a lot of fun this year.
Yeah, there's going to be a good
loaded.
game going on about every night out there, so it'll be exciting for the fans to come out and watch.
Well, we appreciate you guys coming on. We wish you guys the best of luck. And thank you for taking the time here this morning to talk about Dakota basketball.
No
Thanks
problem.
for
Thank
having me.
you.
Yep. Joe and Kyle, thanks a lot for doing all this. I know people around the area really enjoy this stuff.
Oh, absolutely. It's a lot of fun. Glad we could bring Joe on board too. This has been his first year jumping on with myself and Jay. And yeah, I definitely like having Joe on too. He brings a lot of good stuff, and especially in the basketball parts of it, he's huge in basketball. He's just a basketball fanatic, which makes it even better.
I'm not sure Austin or Cason like his background though. What's behind him there, but
Yeah. He's even got the shirt on. See it?
Yeah. You gotta wear it when you can, guys. It doesn't happen too often.
Hopefully
Well,
we'll see
good
ya
luck to you
one day.
guys.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
The
Definitely
playoff.
could.
Yeah.
That'd be fun, wouldn't it? But good luck the rest of the season. Obviously, we'll be following along. Coach, hopefully we can get you back on for the regional podcast again. That was a lot of fun last year. And myself and Joe are going to return when we get back right after this. Transform your outdoors with Baber Service Company. Landscape design and construction, including retaining walls and patios, mulch and rock beds, seasonal cleanups, and so much more. Serving Joe Davies, Carroll, Stevenson, Winnebago, Whiteside, Ogle, and Lee counties. Enhance your outdoor space with expert craftsmanship and attention to detail. Contact Baber Service Company today at 815-291-6334. Joe, we just got done talking with the Dakota crew with Mike Bartelt, Austin Stuckey, and Cason Mayer. And man, the Indians are off to a great start. We talked about they're off to an 8-1 start. That lone blemish coming in that 49-43 loss to Byron in the semifinals
Yes.
of the Forston Holiday Tournament. And that's they played each other 2 weeks ago, of which Dakota won that one 59-54 in Lena. So Byron kind of reversed the tone, and Dakota was out to a good lead in that game. Byron went on a run to take the lead, extended that lead. Dakota battled back to tie it back up before, Byron basically went on a 10-4 run to close out the game and ultimately win it. And of course, then we see Byron go on to lose in overtime to Newman in that championship game that you were calling. And what a game that was too. I left late in the fourth quarter on that one because I was like, oh, Byron's going to win this, and Newman come back to win that one, and it went to overtime on top of it. But looking at Dakota, they definitely look the part right now as being a team that we figured that they would be. We've been talking about it for the past 2 weeks, and they've shown it. And they got a good win against Winnebago to finish in third place in that Forston Holiday Tournament. They've played a Byron team twice now, very tough, winning and losing in a split. They're going to play Bago again later in February on the 7th. And then on top of that, what we've already discussed, a very hard NUIC North schedule getting ready to take place starting tomorrow against Stockton and then picking up once we get out of the Christmas break. But man, what a great time for the Indians, especially building off of a regional championship. Coach Bartelt even said that since 1985-86 is the last time they won back-to-back regional titles when he was a junior and senior on the squad, and they haven't done it since. And of course, Bartelt was on that second sectional championship team for the Indians in that 85 season. And he even said, he goes, that was probably the best run for Dakota basketball as far as consecutive seasons, which it is. But on top of that, the fact that they probably had one of the most winningest records in that time. And of course, Jim Hoover was the coach of the Indians during that time frame as well.
Yeah, Dakota, they got a good thing going here this year, and it was fun and talking to Coach Bartelt and of course Austin and Cason here. But you just feel like, Kyle, this definitely is the makings of something special here. You got the two bigs in Austin Cason, you got some guard play, with Liam Burke there. You got another big in Davis. You got some key guys off the bench as well for Dakota. So yeah, and again, as we talked about with those guys, they're gonna be battle tested every night. They're gonna be ready when postseason time rolls around. That's for sure. But I got to see them against Byron and against Winnebago in person, and yeah, Dakota, they're the real deal, Kyle. They really are. As we talked to Coach Bartelt about, you got two bigs in Class A, like Mayer and Stuckey. You can definitely do some damage there for sure.
Well, and then you throw Drake Davis in that mix, who's like 6'4", 6'5" himself. So, and if it just adds a whole nother level. And we've heard other teams talking about it already with not just the size of Dakota, but the length that they have, and then the athleticism that they also have in the front court. And when you throw Stuckey into the front court and you have him with Liam Burke, and then you have him with Keegan Zimmerman as well, it provides opportunities that a lot of teams can't match up with or don't have.
Right. And the other thing, Kyle, you look at this, they're off to an 8-1 start here, third place of the Forston tournament. But you look at some of the teams they've beaten here. It's not like they've had an easy schedule. They've beaten. You go back to the Scales Mound tournament. They beat East Dubuque and Galena. They had the non-conference win against Byron. They beat the likes of Pearl City and Winnebago at the Forston tournament. So, that 8-1 record, is a pretty solid 8-1, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. And, it's a lot of fun to see because, like you said, We expect Pectonica to build up. Obviously, they just lost to Eastland in the Eastland Holiday Tournament championship game. And with that, you know, we expect Pectonica to continue to build. They had that overtime loss to Galena, which further validates, you know, where Galena is, and we
Right.
watched Dakota pretty much annihilate that Galena team. East Dubuque is right there in that picture. East Dubuque
Yes.
played very tough against Eastland, and Dakota also beat East Dubuque pretty handily as well. So it's easy to look at the early part here as we're just a month into the season and arguably state with confidence that Dakota right now is showing to be the best team in the NUIC at this point.
Yeah, they are. They're definitely right up there. And again, you got that. You know, it just feels like they have all the pieces, Kyle. They got guard play. Of course, you got the bigs. You got rotation. Great coaching staff. They play good, solid defense, especially in the half court. You know, so and they just got so much length on defense. But yeah, they're gonna have some tough tests early in January here. Some tough road tests as we talked about. So uh, you know, they're gonna have to be ready to bring it every night because this conference slate is tough for the Indians.
Yeah, and you know, as we get ready to talk about some other things, Austin Stuckey closing in on 1,000 career points. He is just 35 points short of that, and you know, that in itself is a huge accomplishment as we get ready to close in on that as well. And you know, what a way to go there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, uh, you know, Kyle, we're talking about Dakota here. Let's talk a little bit about the Force tournament in general here. Um, we had some NUIC guys make the all tournament team at Forston. Of course, uh, Cason Mayer and Austin Stuckey are on that all tournament team from Dakota. Connor Polish from Forston, the sophomore guard, he had a real nice tournament. And then Lane Kemple from Pearl City on the all tournament team as well. So NUIC very well represented on the all tournament team at Forston.
Yes, which was just again, like you said, one of the best tournaments in the area this time of year, proving that once again, uh, especially once we got past that opening round.
Right.
Obviously, we saw Lena Winslow lose in that opening round, which I don't think anybody was expecting that. And then they make it all the way back to the Consolation Championship where Warren gets the win. And, you know, what what a great tournament overall. I mean, it really was a lot of fun to see. And yeah, very, very well competed Forston tournament as always that we've become accustomed to. And how about that too, Joe? 64 years of this tournament now.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's awesome.
Yeah. Started with 8 teams way back in the day, went to 12, then eventually got to 16 there in the mid 90s. And it's been 16 teams ever since. But yeah, definitely a lot of tradition there at the Forston tournament, and one of the best well run tournaments for sure that I know of. So, and Kyle, again, Dakota, you know, they take down 3rd place. You know, Forston lost to Oregon in the 5th place game, but they did not have Kendall Erdman for that game. So Erdman missed 2 games in that Forston tournament. So Forston gets Erdman back and can get him healthy, Kyle. Man, they're gonna be a whole different ball club.
Yeah, man,
You know,
that's tough too.
sometimes those ankle injuries, they're hard to recover from in basketball because you don't get that time off like you do, say, in a football season. You know, you're just playing game after game after game. So hopefully Erdman can get healthy there because they're a whole different team when he's at 100%. And then Kyle, you saw the consolation championship between Lena and Warren, which was a pretty good ball game as well.
Yes, that was a good ball game. You know, Lena Winslow got up early, 4-0, and then Warren battled back and got into that mix there where they were then up 8-7 or 7-6. And then Lena came back. Lena took a good sizable lead there late in the first half. But it was Warren that closed out the half there with a 22-21 lead going into the break. And then, they just continue to march on as far as that was concerned, and pulled away to that victory. I mean, Lena Winslow was doing everything that they could, but Warren was just too much down the stretch there with the play of Bryce Van Raalte, and then also the play of Jordan Cole and Bo Podner. And I'll be honest, Joe, that was the first time I've seen Warren play, and we always talk about those feisty type players.
Mm-hmm.
That's Bo Podner, man.
Yeah, yep.
That kid's a little firecracker, man.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, so Warren off to an 8-4 start. Good record here. Played some tough competition. Warren, maybe not quite that like upper echelon elite teams, but they're definitely in that, I would say, kind of that next tier below. But they're a team that you better be ready to battle for 32 minutes when you come to play Warren.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, because if you're not ready, you're going to find out real quick what ready is. Obviously, in that Warren game, we had Bryce Van Raalte etch his name onto the 1,000-point list. And so congratulations there to Bryce Van Raalte. He becomes a member of the 1,000-point club, and did that in that game against Lena Winslow. And then likewise, earlier in the week, Lane Kemple also hit the 1,000-point club. So in the same week, two guys from the NUIC joined that elusive and exclusive 1,000-point club in both Kemple and Van Raalte. And like I said, we're only 35 points away from seeing Austin Stuckey join that club. So this NUIC basketball, Joe, we've been talking about it. It's been very good here as of late, and it's just showing to get even better here, starting off early in the season this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There's a lot of good teams, Kyle, and I've been able to. You've been able to see some in person. I've been able to see quite a few in person. So, I'm very excited to see what the rest of these holiday tournaments bring. And then when we get into conference play, though, that's just kind of a whole different beast there. So we'll see which teams start to separate themselves here. Kyle, one team kind of under the radar here that we haven't talked about a lot. And I don't know why. I don't know if just because we don't have information or whatnot, but Scales Mound quietly off to a 7-1 start. I don't want to say Scales Mound could fly under the radar at 7-1. You not that far removed from going back-to-back state title games, but it just seems like they're kind of just quietly under the radar here, doesn't it? At 7-1.
It does. And I think, like you said, part of that's because they haven't been playing in the local tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
They've been playing a lot of games up in Wisconsin. And, with that, they're definitely getting wins, but we're going to see real quick where they are in terms of how they match up with everyone else. I mean, obviously they were in the Scales Mound tournament.
Right.
But did not make it to the championship game where Dakota won that tournament. So I guess maybe that's part of why it's kind of quiet, because we just
it just seems like, I don't know why. I'm not. It's no disrespect. It just seems like, I guess I just feel like I haven't heard a lot about him for whatever reason.
And I've been trying to stay up with Coach Kudranowich's Twitter feed, because he does a great job of putting stuff out.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
On the old Twitter machine. And I don't know what it was there for a minute. I was having to search stuff. Now he's made it easy for me. I don't have to
Yeah,
search. He keeps
right,
tagging me everything now. So we're definitely getting more. But obviously, Caden Dewar's definitely doing big things for
right.
Scales Mound again, which we saw out of him last year as well. So,
Yep.
uh, I expect that to continue to trend forward as everything keeps moving on. But, we talked about it, that West Division
Oh,
with
man.
East Dubuque and Galena and Scales Mound.
Yeah, Galena's another team I want to mention, Kyle. They're sitting at 7-4, which is good. But you look at their schedule. I mean, they have wins over Scales Mound, Warren, and Peck. Losses to Eastland, Dakota, and Rockford Lutheran. I mean, they've played a gauntlet of a schedule so far. Have the Galena Pirates.
Well, and that Lutheran game was what, a 2-point loss,
Yeah,
I
and
think?
I think they lost to Eastland by 2 also.
Yes, they did in the opening night of
Yeah. Yes.
the Eastland tournament.
Right.
And their only big loss is the one to Dakota.
Yep.
And so yeah, I mean Galena's definitely been very feisty here in the early going. And rightfully so. I mean, with the play of Drew Koenigs, Owen Hafel, Sam Amaya's been doing great work for Galena, and obviously Roman Romer. So I mean, those four have really been the key pieces. I know they got a fifth guy there that starts, but those four stand out the most right now.
Right.
And it's I agree. It's Jeb Weenan, Coach Weenan's son, Jeb. He's also been starting to turn it up. He's only sophomore, I believe. So he's really starting to get into the mix there as well. So Coach Weenan's definitely got something to work on there,
Yeah.
and work with, and they're definitely going to be more formidable as the season continues to move on. And they're again another team with a lot of great senior leadership too.
Right. Exactly. And of course, Kyle, of course, talking boys basketball in the NUIC, you got to mention Eastland. They're off to a 7-1 start. I think, Kyle, maybe the most impressive thing for Eastland in that Eastland tournament, they were finding ways to win all these close games. Like they beat Peck by 9, but they had, 2-point win over Galena, I think it was, and a 2-point win over East Dubuque, and they had a close one against Rockford Lutheran. I mean, they're finding ways to win the close games. Obviously, their own lone loss was that non-conference road game at Sterling Newman, which obviously Sterling Newman off to a 10-0 start this season, champions of the Forest Holiday Tournament. But if you're Eastland, Coach Zumdahl, you gotta like where your squad's at right now, being able to find ways to win the close ones, and also that win start the year overtime against Forson as well. So Eastland definitely getting it done down the stretch of ball games so far.
Well, that's just it, and I think that has been part of the crux, so to speak, for Eastland is they don't have the depth that they had last year when they were ranked in state. And obviously they started the season ranked number 6, and they haven't necessarily dropped out, but they did after the loss to Newman, they fell below where Dakota was as well. But then, like you said, a 2-point win over East Dubuque, a 2-point win over Galena, a 1-point win over Lutheran.
Yeah.
And going into that Pecatonica matchup with Eastland, until Pecatonica lost that overtime game to Galena, you could have sat there and were like, oh man, Pecatonica is going to whoop up on Eastland. Not the case.
Nope.
Eastland definitely showed their experience
Mm-hmm.
level. And I mean, while you got new guys on the floor and Wyatt Carroll and Braden Anderson and Parker Heim, at the same time, you still have Zy Haverland, you still have Parker Krogman, and let's be honest, Anderson and Carroll got valuable minutes last year along with Keim. So, I mean, it's not that they are necessarily newcomers, they're just new starters to the fold, but
Mm-hmm.
they do have a lot of that experience under their belts, and we're key contributors off the bench to a team that finished second in state last year. Whereas
Yeah.
Pecatonica only has one returning starter because they were very senior-led last year.
Right.
Compared to where they're at now with only Brima as the lone returning starter, and Pecatonica is very, very young. You have Connor Berg as a freshman starting, Carter Degner's a sophomore. They had another sophomore out there. Cooper Hamilton was a starter as a
Right.
sophomore. They're very
Yep.
young. And even the guys coming off the bench, you got the younger Brima in there, that is also only a freshman.
Right. Yeah, they're going to go through some growing pains, Kyle. They
Yeah.
are. Let's be honest. Especially, you know, you play in that very tough Eastland tournament. Now they're going to head down to the State Farm in Bloomington over Christmas, where they're going to obviously play 4 tough games, and then you're going to get into your conference schedule with the likes of Dakota and Lena, and Forest and Pearl City. I mean, Peck's going to go through some growing pains, but I fully expect them by February to be playing their best basketball.
Well, and they got their MLK shootout coming up as well.
Right. Yeah.
Of which,
Forgot about that.
they got similar teams that were there last year. Johnsburg's back in it. They're going to play Johnsburg. Rockford Christian's back in it. Granted, Rockford Christian from last year lost a lot of talent, plus replaced their head coach this year. So it'll be interesting to see that. And then UIC College Prep's back in it as well. So all 3 of those teams were there last year. And of course, Pecatonica pretty much dominated their way to that victory in that tournament last year, which also culminated with a championship game win over Eastland in that. So it'll be interesting to see. They also have Quincy Notre Dame coming up on their schedule right after that. So, yeah, Coach Bobby Heisler is not going easy on this squad at all, which just further validates the amount of experience these guys are going to gain as the season wears on. And with that familiarity, I'm telling you what, whatever they do this year is going to be a building block for what they can do even further next year.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I would agree. I think if you're Peck, you got to keep the big picture in mind. And, when they roll into regionals this coming season here, their record may not be very indicative of how good of a team they are, because they're probably going to lose some games here. Just like I said, some growing pains, a young team. But man, they're going to be a tough out when postseason rolls around. That's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Let's see. We've talked about the Eastland. We've talked about Forreston. So now we got to go to girls basketball. Tell us about. We'll start with the polo tournament.
Yeah, so at the polo tournament, it was Polo and Eastland for the championship game. This past Thursday night, Eastland won that game 50-44 over Polo. Lady Cougars were led by Sienna Peterson. She had 22 points in the ball game. Cam Jones scored 29 for Polo in the loss. Eastland gets to 12-1 on the season. Polo falls 8-4. Of course, Eastland's only loss still remains the 2A power Stillman Valley. So you look at Eastland here, Kyle. 5 seniors in that starting lineup. They just seem to. These girls know how to win, and they're going to be a very tough team to beat. You better bring it if you want to beat Eastland here on girls basketball this season.
Yeah, definitely going to be a lot of fun there. And I
Yeah,
gotta back that up just a minute. What I said
Yeah.
about those teams that Pecatonica was going to be playing,
Yeah.
that was what Eastland's going to be playing.
Oh, okay.
But Pecatonica, same thing though. Boylan, Rockford Christian,
Yeah.
Harlem, and like you said, the State Farm Classic, of which Eastland's going down to the State Farm Classic too. So they're both going to be in that. So yes, both these teams, Eastland and Pecatonica, definitely strengthen themselves up. And I'm sorry, I just hijacks the girl stuff. Let's get back to the girls.
We want to get things right, Kyle. That's okay. We'll get back to it. No, Kyle, I was going to say about the Eastland girls, like I said, they're off 12-1 start, but I feel like the thing with them is, with those 5 senior starters, they're not, and like, for example, Santa Peterson had 22 in that championship game against Polo, but, the next game, someone else is probably going to be a leading scorer. And then the next game after that, they might have a different leading scorer. Like, they're not necessarily counting on one girl. They're so well-rounded, and I think that's, huge in Class A girls basketball, where you don't have to rely on one girl necessarily all the time.
Yeah, no, it is huge. And, we talked about with Eastland, especially getting Trixie Carroll to come back out and what Coach Brinker is
Right.
doing there right now. And let's be honest. I mean, the girls basketball scene, while we saw the state champs come from Pecatonica last year, right now the NUIC and girls basketball looks to be the most wide open or most parodied it's been in quite some time
Yes.
this season. And I mean, we're seeing Dakota, who was going to be a team that was going to be reckoned with, kind of off to a slow start. Eastland's off to a big start. Adding Trixie Carroll to that roster that had a lot of experience coming back has been huge, as Coach Brinker's looking for like her 20th conference title this year. And
Yeah.
obviously I'm just kind of being sarcastic, but it's definitely well up there as well.
Yeah.
But then you take a look at, like I said, East Dubuque's off to a big start. Galena,
Yeah.
who we know they lost Gracie Furlong, but also returned a lot of players, are off to a very tough start right now. River Ridge Scales Mound is another team that we expected to have a lot of returning pieces. They too have been off to somewhat of a tough start. Pecatonica lost a ton of key pieces last year. They also returned some key pieces, and they too have had a pretty decent start to the year, I would
Yeah.
say.
Pecatonica, Kyle, they're sitting at 8-3, the Peck girls.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, though, they are going to get tested here after Christmas. They go to the very tough Dixon tournament. Their pool, Kyle, is Byron and East Moline. So they'll start the Dixon tournament with those two teams. So, and then obviously you got the likes of Sterling and Dixon and Newman. Stillman Valley's in that tournament. So Pecatonica, they're going to get a nice little feel for where they're at against the some of the better 2 and 3A teams in girls basketball at that Dixon tournament. And as you said, East Dubuque, they win the Pearl City tournament. They're 10-1, Kyle. Are the East Dubuque Lady Warriors. So they're off to a nice start as well.
Yeah, and then, not to be remiss of our buddy Jay Doyle and his Orangeville Broncos.
Yes.
They did not get off to a great start, and they've had to battle through injuries and suspensions, like he's talked about, that probably weren't something that they would normally deal with, right? They're off to a 6-6 start right now, but you take a look, their 5-game stretch where they were without Doyle and without Blakely, they lost some games that they probably don't lose in normal time. They lost to
Right.
Warren. They lost to Oregon. Both those games they had leads in. They lost to Dakota. They lost to Durand. And I know that he wishes he could get those games back, but at the moment, it is what it is.
Right.
They did already lose to Eastland once back in tournament play. But at the same time, now that they're healthy and everybody's back and they're starting to take a look at different things, they have looked like a totally different team. And they're getting ready to go back to the reindeer game tournament at Boylan again over the Christmas break here, which they're going to play Boylan, Harlem, Marion Central Catholic, and then, whatever the final round game is that they'll
Right.
be in, whether it's the first place, second place, or first place, third place, fifth place, consolation, whatever, they'll have another game there against somebody. But I went to that tournament last year, and they had definitely had some top competition, including perennial power Peoria and Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's a good test there for the Lady Broncos. They're head to that Boylan tournament. By far the smallest school at that tournament, and it's not even close.
Yeah. Well, Jay likes to
So,
put himself up against the best early.
yeah.
And
Kyle, let's real quick take a look at a couple of girls' all-tournament teams here while I'm thinking about it. Let's go back to that polo tournament. The Eastland was the champion. Eastland put 3 girls on the all-tournament team: Morgan McCullough, Santa Peterson, and Tatum Grimm. Polo, they put 3 girls on the all-tournament team: Cam Jones, Leah Tobin, Laney Mandrell. Haley Vogt from Forston made the all-tournament team at polo. And then River Ridge Scales Mound, they put 3 girls on the all-tournament team: Campbell Haro, Sarah Winter, and Kensley Patterson. So that's a look at the all-tournament team at polo. They're pretty much all NUIC girls, with the exception, I think, of maybe 1 girl. So very well represented there at the polo tournament was the NUIC.
And a quick shout out to Forston head coach Kyle Getz. Obviously, Forston last year only had 3 wins.
Yep.
And right now they're off to a 6-7 start. They just won a game again last night. But how exciting is that to go from where you were at last year, going through the entire season with only 3 wins? You're not even through the first. You just got through the first month of the season, and you've already doubled that win total. You're playing more competitive basketball. So, I just had to give a quick shout out to Getsy because he has done a tremendous job of trying to get this girls Forston team turned around here.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely look much improved from last year. And sometimes it takes a few years, to get your program going in the direction you want. So I think Coach Getz he'll get them there. But definitely, as you said, 6 wins already this year. You've already doubled your win total from last year, and we're not even at Christmas yet. So Forston definitely trending in the right direction here.
Yeah, definitely a lot of fun there. So let's go over to the Pearl City tournament where, like you said, we saw East Dubuque win that tournament. Give us a rundown of that.
Yeah, so East Dubuque said they get to 10-1. They win that tournament. They beat Warren 47-38 to win that tournament. All tournament team there. For Pearl City, you had Sandra Martins and Danica Stager, Natalie Doyle from Orangeville, Peyton Lenoff from East Dubuque, and Sydney Schonard from East Dubuque as well. So that was your all-tournament team at Pearl City. Warren girls, they played tough there, Kyle. They played they had a nice win over Oregon. They won some games there that I don't think maybe some people would expect them to win there. So they maybe got some things figured out there in that tournament. But obviously East Dubuque was the cream of the crop there in that tournament.
Yeah, I mean, when you take a look at Warren, obviously Haley Pafford, the freshman, is starting to really stand out. She's starting to get more playing time. But when you look at Macy Mullen and Lizzie Hartzell, those two in itself are huge playmakers for the Warriors. And then, it's one of the things I was talking to Jay about. I mean, they're big. They're for a girl team, they're a big team that they can muscle their way through a lot of stuff. And I think that if they can just get a little bit more confident in themselves, they're going to be very, very dangerous as the season goes on.
Yeah, for sure. They're definitely on the upswing, I would say here.
I mean, they're off to a 5-7 start right now, but yeah, the potential ceiling is definitely growing as far as Warren basketball is concerned. And I think there too, Coach Linker knows it.
Yep.
All right,
What else we
so
got here, Kyle?
taking a look across the wrestling scene, on the boys' side, Lena Winslow Stockton won the Erie Holiday Tournament. They got first place. With that, they had 5 individual champions. Harrison Bauer won the 144-pound weight class. Jack Mensendijk won the 175-pound weight class. Eli Larson was champ at 190. Oliver McPeak champ at 215. And Maya Luke was the champion at the 285-pound weight class. So, obviously 5 champions there. Mauricio Glass was second place at 138. And then they had 2 fourth-place finishes from Sam Sikora at 157 and Mark Detweiler at 165. So a great showing there by Lena Winslow Stockton. And obviously, as a team, Lena Winslow Stockton definitely one of the early favorites once again to be not just competing with a lot of individual wrestlers reaching state titles. Like right now, Eli Larson and and Maya Luke are ranked number 1 in their weight classes. I can't remember where Oliver McPeak is, but I know he's ranked either 1, 2, or 3 in his weight class. Harrison Bauer, I believe, is ranked top 3 in his weight class as well, along with Mauricio Glass. So obviously very deep there for Lena Winslow Stockton. And with that, the chance at winning a team regional title also means that then they would move into team sectionals as well. So, Lena Winslow Stockton doing what Lena Winslow Stockton does.
Yep.
On the girls' side of wrestling, Fulton sent their girls to the DeWitt tournament. And from there, Kirby Gurman had a tournament of all tournaments. She beat 3 state-ranked wrestlers in Iowa, all by pinfall, and won her 3rd tournament title now on the season, as she remains undefeated on the season as well. And then the Steamers also had Tessa Fosdick get a 3rd place finish as she went 3-1 in the tournament. So, great start there for Fulton girls to get a lot of attention as well. Then we got a lot to look at on the national scene. And we'll start in women's hockey, where Orangeville's Tessa Janicki was part of the Team USA sweep of Canada in the rivalry series. Team USA beat Team Canada in 4 consecutive games to sweep that rivalry series 4-0. And, the Olympic trials are coming up here in January, of which Tessa Janicki is an invite to that. So we should, as me and you were discussing before we came live, we should see Tessa Janicki on Team USA for the Olympics, but she still has to go through the trials and the tryouts in order to officially make that team. But we'll definitely keep a look at that as that continues to go on. Coach Mike Blackburn, who is an Aquin alum, is the defensive coordinator at Iowa Western Junior College in Iowa. They won their 4th national championship. It's their 3rd. They've won their 3rd title now in the last 4 seasons. And they beat Hutchinson for the national championship, which was a rematch of last year's national championship that Hutchinson won. And, when you take a look at what Hutchinson and what Iowa Western are, those 2 teams have definitely become the premier teams in junior college football scene, as Hutchinson was in their 3rd national championship game since 2020. Iowa Western obviously has been there in 5 consecutive trips now as well. So a great showing there, and obviously Coach Blackburn getting another national championship under his belt as the defensive coordinator there. Then last night we saw 2 different semifinal games take place for a couple of our graduated local players. Jake Anderson, a Duran Peck who played for Dupec, is the defensive tackle for Illinois State. Illinois State gets the win over Villanova last night to get back to the national championship game for the second time under Coach Spack. They're going to play the number 2 ranked Montana State Bobcats, who just obliterated Montana yesterday. That game is going to take place in Nashville on January 5th at Vanderbilt University. And fun fact there, Illinois State becomes the first FCS team to reach the national championship game while playing all 4 of their games on the road to come away with wins. The other thing, too, is Illinois State was ranked number 17th in the country heading into these playoffs.
Right.
They were also unseeded in the playoffs because they were an at-large team with an 8-4 record.
Right. Yeah, for people that don't know how that works, Kyle, there 24 teams make it. They seed the top 16, and then you got your other 8 in at-large. So Illinois State was one of those 8 at-large teams, and for the Redbirds to win 4 road games, including the win at North Dakota State. I mean, what a run they are on, and to have somebody from the area, from the NUIC area, and Jake Anderson on the team and making contributions on the team is pretty outstanding.
Yeah. So a lot of excitement there, not just for Jake getting to play in a national championship game, but like you said, Illinois State getting back to the national championship. They were runner-up here in what I think it was 2015. They were the runner-up in the national championship. Early in Coach Spack's tenure at Illinois State. Obviously, he's in his 17th year now coaching Illinois State, getting the Redbirds back to the national championship. Going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to watch that game, that's for sure. On the Division III side of things, North Central books their trip to the Stag Bowl for the 6th consecutive year, as they are going to play UW River Falls. Entering the playoffs, North Central is ranked number 1. UW River Falls was number 3. UW River Falls did knock off perennial powerhouse Mount Union as well. But one can argue that North Central is right now the current face of Division III football, as they are in their 6th consecutive game at the national championship, looking for another national title, of which they won last year, so they are the defending national champs. On that team, Lena Winslow's Mari Roby, who is also looking to become a 3-time national champion here.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Like you said, Kyle, North Central, kind of the maybe the new standard, where Mount Union was the standard for Division III football for it seemed like decades, so, and for somebody from NUIC area to be on in Mari Road to be on that North Central team is pretty cool.
Here's another fun thing too. Mari Roby, in his varsity career in high school and in college, has never missed the final game.
There's not many guys that can say that, Kyle.
I know.
That's pretty cool.
Because he won 2 state titles in football in high school.
Right.
Obviously, COVID got in the way of what could have been another state championship caliber season for Lena Winslow. And then he's never missed the national championship game in college.
Wow. That's impressive. Yeah, that is.
So good luck to Mari Roby as the Cardinals will take on UW River Falls. That game is going to be at Jim Benson Field, the Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio, on Sunday, January 4th. So we'll definitely be tuned in for that game as well. It's going to be very, very exciting. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, no doubt. It's again, Kyle, it's fun to see all these local athletes doing good at the next level for sure. So, I think it just goes to show what the NUIC can be all about and what it stands for. So,
well, and the cool thing is too, because you add in the fact that you have Jennings Dunker that's going to be getting ready for the NFL Combine.
Yeah, he's got a bowl game first, right?
Right.
Iowa's playing Vandy on New Year's Eve.
Also in Nashville.
Yes.
Right? Is it in Nashville?
No,
they're down in
they're
Florida.
playing Vanderbilt, right?
Oh, they're playing Vanderbilt, but it's not in Nashville. It's down in Florida.
Yep.
Illinois is playing in Nashville.
Yes.
But with Dunker getting ready for the NFL Combine, already looking at a potential first-round draft pick, if not second-round draft pick status. Mari Roby, I've already heard, is getting some potential camp invites for those tryouts.
Yeah.
And then Jake Anderson is going to graduate Illinois State and is going to move into the transfer portal to move onto what should be a Power 5 school, as NFL scouts have already told him they want to see him play at a higher level yet. And he's already got 4 different schools that are looking at him to play for them next year, which will open up that bigger NFL picture for Jake as well.
Yeah, for sure. Kyle, you mentioned that stat about Mari Roby always playing the title game. I think every NFL team would want a piece of that.
Oh,
if he always makes the title game, right?
he's definitely going to have a long road, because
for sure.
I mean, he's strong, he's fast, he's quick, and obviously we're starting to see the game start to trend back towards that, right?
Yeah.
For that more elusive speed, stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I mean, Mari's strong as nails and tough as nails as well, but right now it's still an outside shot for him. But regardless, have to be excited for the opportunity. And you, without the opportunity, you don't get the chance to showcase it. But man, he had a big game last night defensively for the Cardinals in that win over John Carroll. So very cool to see that. John Carroll too was a top 10 ranked team on the D3 level this year. And with that, North Central already beat UW La Crosse, so this is the second time in these playoffs they're playing a UW team.
Okay. Yeah.
With River Falls. Yeah. So, we hear all the time about, the WIACC and how strong that style of the Wisconsin schools are. And they continue to prove it, because, I mean, UW Whitewater was in these playoffs. UW Platteville was in these playoffs. So just unbelievable.
Yeah, a lot of football to keep up with, Kyle. You're doing good.
I'm trying. But yeah, that's a lot of recap in a week, man.
It's a busy time of year for sure. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, don't ask me how I do it. I mean, my notebook's that thick already.
Yeah. He does have a regular day job, folks, in case you're wondering.
Oh, man.
Kyle, just real side note here, quick, back to basketball before we wrap things up here. Just some local teams that'll be playing in tournaments after Christmas here. Of course, we already talked about Eastland and Pecatonica. They'll be down at the State Farm Holiday Classic. Of course, that's, kind of the main one in the whole state of Illinois. You're going to have 5 NUIC teams at the Erie Warkins tournament in Erie. You got West Carroll, Morrison, Forest, and Glean, and Fulton all going to Erie, which is a very tough tournament. The likes of Orion and Newman will be at that tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Polo and Amboy, they'll be down at the Lamoille tournament after Christmas. And I think that's all I have for boys. I just covered half the NUIC there. Of course, like Coach Bartelt talked about, some teams take the time off between Christmas and New Year's. So, but I just wanted to give a shout out to those teams that we'll be keeping an eye on after Christmas here.
I thought there was some. I gotta take
East
a look.
Dubuque's at Sherrard. I forgot that one. East Dubuque's at Sherrard, which I think they play Anawan in the first round, so that'll be a good test for them. And then Byron's in that tournament as well. So
also in the Workins Memorial Classic on the girls' side,
yes,
is going to be Morrison, Fulton, and Stockton.
Yes.
So,
yeah. And as I talked about, Pecatonic is at the very, very tough Dixon girls tournament. I mean, that thing is loaded. So, we'll see how Pecatonic fares there. That's going to be a good test for them.
And then Orangeville's at the Boylan Reindeer Games.
Yep.
Oh boy, fun times, man. I love when these teams get out there and just really put it all out there. I mean, it's one of those conversations that we were having with the recent announcement of the expansion of the football playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because now you could potentially 2 and 7s are going to be the new at large. So I mean, realistically, you're going to become an automatic at 3 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason why you cannot go and challenge yourself in the non-conference games with this expansion.
Correct.
And I look at it on the baseball side of things. That's what I always enjoyed doing was, I took our team in the new Lenox the last 2 years to play perennial 4A powerhouse Providence Catholic.
Right.
We constantly had Harlem and Freeport on schedule, and we've even played against Boylan, so some 3A teams there. And then we had an annual setup with Richmond Burton, which was a regular 2A powerhouse. We added Johnsburg last year, which was great because Johnsburg won a 2A regional title. Rock Falls has been on that schedule the last few years as well. And what I'm getting at is those games, playing the tougher teams like that, helps build you into something more. Win or lose, you want to go and compete. And when you know you got kids that can compete, you don't really – it's not that you don't care about the wins and losses, but you're not afraid to get a couple wins or losses because you know it's not overly going to affect what happens in the seeding process.
Correct. Yeah.
And on the football side of things, you're not worried now so much about – obviously, you still got the seeding part of it, but that's just going to be there in its own right. But you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, this might not give me 5 wins.
Right. Yeah. If there is one, love it or hate it, all the changes, that is one definitely positive, I think, no matter what side of this you're on, is teams can definitely schedule some tougher non-competition games, if they have a team that they think is capable of playing in those games. So that is definitely one perk to this new system, whether you love it or hate it.
Agreed. Like I said, not necessarily for it, but I'm also not against the opportunity because I've always been in favor of seeding it through an RPI or some sort of ratings type system because I want to see the best 32 teams.
Right.
And while I'm not a favor of the bye week and I'm not a favor of the expansion of the playoffs because I still feel you got to earn your way into the playoffs.
Yeah.
What it does do is it provides that play-in round now. And I don't care if anybody wants to call it that or not. That's what I'm going to call it because that's basically what it is. It's a play-in round.
Yeah.
And with that, you're going to see who those best bottom 16 teams truly are.
Correct.
Which in essence will give us that proverbial best 32 team playoff bracket.
Right. It should. It
And
should.
So that is what I am excited about.
Yeah. Kyle, the other thing, let's go back to what we were just saying quick about the, teams maybe scheduling tougher non-conference opponents. Do you see teams maybe not doing that as far as the fact of they want to get to those 8 wins to secure a bye, or to that 7 wins to give themselves a chance at a bye? But I also feel there's going to be those coaches that necessarily may not even want the bye. Because, you guys talked about that in your kind of emergency podcast you had there.
Yeah.
I don't want to dig too deep into this because I know you guys already had a pod on it, but
Oh no, you're
it's
good.
just gonna it's gonna be interesting to see, each coach, each staff, each school is gonna have their own opinion on it. And I think you'll see some changes over the next few years on it once this thing gets rolling. But it's going to be interesting to see how teams do schedule in the non-conference.
So, I mean, obviously on my emergency pod, I had 2 assistant coaches, Logan Swan, one of our co-hosts for NUIC football, and then David Robertson, who is also an assistant coach for Bismarck Henning. So I had 2 guys from opposite ends of the state,
Right.
both in the southern half or south central part of the state.
Yeah.
So obviously no biases for what I'm talking about, but both those guys had the same thought process that we have up here. But you look at both the conferences they come from, they're both in similar landlocked type conferences that we're in. Like Bismarck Henning's right along that Indiana corridor there.
Yep.
So there's not a whole lot of movement they're going to make. And likewise, Calhoun is sitting in the WIVC where they've been for eternity, along with a bunch of other 1A schools. And when you take a look at conferences that are small school conferences, and we'll say Class 1A conferences, really the WIVC and the NUIC are the only truest 1A conferences across the state. And
yeah, that is true. It's a good point.
There's not a whole lot of places for schools in our area or their areas really to go to. Now, in Coach Robertson's area, they could jump into the Heart of Illinois Conference, which just expanded to 3 divisions this year. And they're already having a team or 2 that are leaving the conference to go to the Lincoln Prairie. So there is a little bit of that fluctuation where he's at that could take place while still staying within a relative good travel distance, right?
Right.
But when it comes to the expansion and the bye week, both of them illustrated exactly what I've talked to other coaches up here about. They don't want the bye week. Now, don't get me wrong, I think there's some that maybe not necessarily in favor of the expanded playoffs, but would be in favor of a more RPI style system to seed teams, especially when you see the likes of like a Galena and a Forreston that get in at 5-4.
Right.
And they got to go up against a Lena Winslow and a Stockton a second time around. And I was having this conversation with somebody else not from the NUIC, and they even stated that had Forreston or Galena been on the southern part of the bracket, how many of those teams in that south part of the bracket would have actually beat them? And there wasn't many.
Right. Right.
Which just further validates that argument.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely going to help some teams from the NUIC, a 3-6 or a 4-5 team that maybe would not have gotten in before. And then you get in and you get the right matchup. And I think you guys gave the example of Galena, I think it was on your pod, how far they possibly could have went this year, if it would have been.
Galena had a legitimate shot to get to the semifinals from their starting spot in a play-in game.
Right. So, I mean, you're going to have those type of situations, so it's going to be interesting to see how it works out. I'll admit, Kyle, I'm not necessarily for this, but I'm going to go in with an open mind once the season rolls around to see how it plays out. Um, from my personal opinion, the thing, I don't like the bye week, and I don't necessarily like the movement of dead week or the season starting a week earlier. That's just my personal problems I have with it. Now that doesn't mean anything, but that's where I'm at with it. So, but we'll see how it plays out, so.
So I have talked to a few other coaches already about that movement of dead week. And I remember you had brought up, the fact that this could potentially create issues for schools that now are going from the start of basically July 6th all the way through the football season now without a break into basketball season. But in talking to some of these coaches, it sounds like a lot of them are still going to observe that first week of August as a dead week.
Right. I really hope a lot of the coaches do that, because these kids need a break. And then, it's just, I don't know. It's just how I feel about it. I can't really pinpoint it, but these kids got to have a break at some point, so.
Well, and what I do like about it too is, maybe not necessarily like about it, because I think one thing I don't like about it, and granted, for baseball purposes, it can be a little bit different because you can be disassociated with everything and still do baseball stuff. But it could potentially hurt the opportunity, because we have a lot of schools right now that do summer baseball that starts in
Yeah.
June, and a lot of us, we start in June, and we want to be done by that 4th of July week or of
Yeah.
that week, maybe going into the week after barely, but now it really hardens that to where you basically, because when you look at like baseball, for instance, like the 1A baseball schedule now, along with 2A, is being thrown into the same schedule as 3A and 4A. So our state tournament got pushed back another week to mirror that of 3A and 4A. So for baseball, the state tournament is now June 12th and 13th.
Wow.
Which is the official end of the high school baseball season.
I guess I'm not up to date on that, Kyle, like you are, but so is the season still starting at the same time, practice, or is it starting a week later?
So baseball is starting on March 2nd, which last year I think it started February 25th.
Yeah, I think that is a week later then.
It is.
Yeah.
But see, so 1A and 2A always started the same week as 3A and 4A, but 3A and 4A also had that one additional week of games that they could play to get more games in the month of May ahead of that regional schedule starting.
Yeah.
Now it's all going to be the same.
Right.
Softball, likewise, for 1A and 2A are also now on that same schedule. And yeah, they're going to start the week before and end a week before. So their state championships are going to be that first weekend in June now.
All right. Yeah, Kyle, that's the thing with this whole football thing. You feel like the calendar, the IHSA, goes by, okay, we have to have these championship games Thanksgiving weekend, and I get it. It's a great tradition, but maybe that's something that they'd look to change in the future. I don't know, but it kind of controls the whole calendar. Thanksgiving kind of controls that whole IHSA calendar, with the state wanting to do those football games Thanksgiving weekend, if that makes sense to people.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't, but I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's the facts.
And that's the part where I struggle with it, because for baseball, softball, your prime playing time comes in that June, July area. And now, I mean, you're almost forcing these kids to have to go to travel ball stuff.
Right.
when it comes to softball, baseball, in order to bypass that dead week. Because let's put it this way. I never started our summer schedule until the week after the official state championship games were completed. And I did that obviously with the 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 thought process that if we make the state finals, I can't start anything until then anyway.
Right. Right.
Now, there was a couple teams out there that had already started to schedule stuff in that week leading up to the state finals because either A, they didn't have that whimsical thought that I did, or B, they just knew, hey, we're not going to make it, so we can start scheduling here. Our
Right.
season will already be over.
Yeah.
I never wanted to have that thought process myself. But now that June 4th and 6th weekend, where it was previously the state finals last year, is now just the week of sectionals.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
as much as I do, we're going to have teams from the conference in that sectional week.
Yeah. It's, there's so many different ways to look at it. Like it just seems like you just keep taking summer away from these kids somewhat. And like you just talking about moving baseball and back, class 1 and 2A back to 3A and 4A. It just seems like you're going so late into summer. Because a lot of these schools now, Kyle, they're out by the middle of May.
Right.
And if you're making a run in baseball in 1 or 2A, you're playing a month after school's out. I mean, it just seems. I mean, Kyle,
I don't mind that so much. I think the biggest problem I have is that with baseball and softball, there are the two sports where you don't have contact days.
Right.
So we're negated from the contact days, but we only have so many days. Usually it was up until like I think we got until like week 52 or maybe week 1 of the IHSA calendar as it rolls over, because that rolls over in July.
Yeah.
And maybe it was week 4. I think we got until week 4. So basically that meant we had from the start of June till the week leading into that last week of July before the dead week is what we had available to do stuff on a baseball stuff.
Right.
So what I always did is I always just tried to schedule games to where our summer was just that. We're just playing games on certain dates. So I always looked at it as if every other sport gets 20 contact days, and let's say I'm making 12 play dates, I'm still within that 20-day contact period. 12 dates technically gives me 24 games because every game we play is a doubleheader anyway.
Yeah.
So I just looked at it as I'm still well within reason here.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many different things you could look at, and everyone's going to have their own opinions on it, but we'll just kind of see how the new calendar shakes out here with football and, like you said, baseball for 1A and 2A being backed up a week here. So,
well, and that's also the other struggle too, at least on the baseball side of it, because with the expanded lookout for pitch counts and things like that, like even your travel ball tournaments have extended. Like travel ball tournaments used to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Now they're starting on Wednesdays.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even the travel ball side of it is starting to hinder the high school aspect of it.
Yeah. Kyle, the other thing, this is probably few and far between scenario, but you could also have a scenario where say a 1A or 2A baseball player, you got kids that want to get summer jobs, maybe have summer jobs lined up, and that could affect that. Or let's say you have a scenario where you have a senior right after graduation is signed up for the military. You could be leaving that last week of June and your baseball team could still be playing, say, a sectional. I mean, that's a rare scenario, but it's something that could happen,
It's possible, but you have different entry levels for that stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm just saying there is possibility of those types of one-off situations.
Yeah. No,
As
you're
far
not.
as taking the baseball season so deep, I'm just saying there's those type of situations that are out there that could potentially be out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of states that technically take baseball this deep anyway.
Right. That is true.
And let's be honest, IHSA has always done this. Like, it's not uncommon. 3A and 4A have always played this late.
Right.
It's just that now they're throwing 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A into the same weekend. So with that, you know, the 1A and 2A boys and girls played ahead of the 3A and 4A boys and girls. So now 1A through 4A are all on the same weekend for boys, and they're all on the same weekend for girls.
Right.
The girls, 1A through 4A, all play in Peoria at the Louisville Slugger Complex. The boys have always been split. 1A, 2A plays in Peoria at Dozer Park.
Mm-hmm.
3A and 4A play in Joliet
Right.
at the Slammers facility. So now it looks, when I look at the calendar, 3A and 4A is still playing in Joliet. So where is 1A and 2A going?
Yeah.
Because if you're IHSA, do you really want to have split sites to try
Probably
to cover
not.
this stuff? Exactly.
Probably
You're going to be
not.
playing on the same weekend. You don't want to split it all off.
Right. Kyle, one thing I always did like about the baseball and the softball is that super sectional game was always on Memorial Day. So that you're saying that won't be the case for baseball anymore.
No.
The super will not be on Memorial Day.
No.
Because the calendar's moved back a week. But softball will still be? Is that correct or no?
Yes.
Okay.
So let me pull that up on the old calendar here.
I wasn't trying to put you on the spot, Kyle, but it just popped in my head there.
No. So Memorial Day this year is going to be the 25th, which leads into sectional play. So the super sectionals are for softball are going to be on June 1st.
Okay.
So sectional play will be the week of Memorial Day, which that's the week of regional play for baseball this year.
Yeah, so that's a big change, I guess, for me personally, and that just my mindset there. I always have that. I always thought, okay, Memorial Day is baseball super sectionals, softball, super sectionals.
Yeah, yeah, because when I went on our sectional run, we had the regional championship was on May 20th. The sectional championship game was on the 27th, and I was getting prepared for that practice on the 28th on that Sunday.
Right.
Because we were going to turn around then on Monday, May 29th, Memorial Day,
right,
to play the super sectional game at 10 o'clock in the morning in Rockford.
Right. Correct.
So I'd already put that in the schedule in anticipation that had we beat Newman, we'd be practicing on Sunday and then playing Monday morning on Memorial Day.
Yep.
Yeah.
We kind of got off track there a little bit, Kyle, but
we did. I can't believe it. We've already been talking for an hour and 15 minutes.
And that's without Jay here.
I know. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, though.
There was. Usually Jay's the one getting us off track. I'll take the blame this time.
That's all right. It's all good. It's all good. But anyway, that gives you a look of everything that we have going on. Like you've already said, Joe, we got a lot of big stuff coming up with the Christmas holiday tournament starting up. Some teams are going to be playing. Some teams are going to be off. Regardless, there's a lot of games that are going to be going on here coming up this next 2 weeks. And then we get to roll right into conference play, which is going to be phenomenal. And then just a couple weeks after that, we have the MLK tournaments taking place. So before long, we're going to start seeing all of this start rolling out too, as far as regional seedings and then placements, which will be a lot of fun. With that, I got to get on the ball today and start going through some of these ratings systems so we can start kind of getting a better idea of how we could see these seedings take place. So we got more stuff to talk about there as well.
Yeah.
Well, any final thoughts, Joe?
No, it's just going to be a busy week and a busy winter here. So we'll do our best to keep recapping it every week.
Hey, there you go.
Try to keep up with everything. So we'll see what we can do.
It's always a ton of fun, bud. Man, so glad that you're on board. This has been so great. And yeah, I'm
Appreciate
excited.
you asking me to come on.
You bet, man. I'm so excited with everything that we got coming up here. We came off of a very high fall season with volleyball and football and exploded right into the winter season with basketball. And it is just really taken off in the direction we hoped it would.
Yep, for sure.
So anyway, as always, get out to those games, root for your teams. As always, root for the NUIC. We'll see you next week.